back to Moco. Today I'm here with Gaz and we're going to be talking about the future of Moco. But before we do, I want to actually talk about our memories of when it initially launched back in March of 2025. Gaz, thanks for coming to the channel, man. I miss talking about Moco, and this is actually the first time that we're collaborating together. So it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Echo. It's super excited to be here, to say the least.
Yeah, of course, man. Well, let's reminisce a little bit right now. Let's take it back to March. I believe it was March 18th, 2025. Moco launched. I know for me, I'm an action RPG guy at heart. I play Diablo Immortal on another channel, and I just love action RPGs. And Moco is really Supercell's rendition of an action RPG. I was stoked when this launched. I played it, and I played it prior in testing, but when it launched, and I saw how players can come together in the world and just fight on these big bosses. It was such a fresh, easy to jump into experience, and I absolutely loved it, mostly because of the social element of the battle mechanics. Take me back to your experience when the game initially launched. All that hype was there from all players and creators. How were you feeling back then?
Yeah, I was super excited because obviously I covered Clash Mini and then that game died, so I needed a new game to cover on the channel. So I tried a bit of Squad Busters, wasn't my cup of tea. So then in the works was Moco. So I waited patiently for Moco just to go full time on that on the channel, with fingers crossed that I liked the game, because I never actually played it until it launched. So it was like totally fresh for me. I didn't join you guys in the early play tests. So there we go, downloaded it, started playing it, and I was hooked right away. So that's always a good sign. Just absolutely loved it. I found it easy to play, easy to get used to, and I just absolutely hooked, and I've been hooked since, to tell you the truth.
And that says a lot, man, because since chapter 2 it's been a bit of a lull. We're going to be talking about that throughout this video. You have to be one of the most patient content creators that I know, not only just from the Supercell community, because you know the Clash Mini, you were big into that, and that game was kind of killed, although it's in Clash Royale right now. And now Moco, it's taking longer to come out than you would expected. I appreciate you sticking with it and really having true belief that it's going to be a solid game. Now, initially, everyone was hyped about the game. I remember live streaming, hundreds of people in there, super excited, wanting to join my parties, jumping in. We were farming with these big mobs, and it was just such a good social experience. This was basically throughout chapter 1. You know, you play through the whole thing, you unlock, what's it even called when you unlock it at level 40? What was that thing called again?
The Elite Hunter.
Yeah, the Elite Hunter program. You will unlock the Elite Hunter program, and then you start grinding through that. Everyone loved it, and then you get to that end game when the grind kind of falls off, and the whole plan was chapter 2 will then launch, and you'll then restart your grind, which came with a lot of issues from the community, and being very transparent, I had issues with it myself. One of my biggest issues was, and I know there were a bunch and we'll talk about them all, but my biggest issue was the loss of progress. You would basically be almost reset to a new character for a new season. Now, speaking from the ARPG world, if we look at, let's say, Diablo 3, every season you start a brand new character, you play through the game throughout with the new mechanics that were implemented for each season, and you basically start fresh. I don't think that works in mobile gaming. I think that no one wants to lose progress, myself included. And because of that, chapter 2 came, and man, I didn't even reach the Elite Hunter program. I'm not even there yet, because I just was kind of like, I took the wind out of my sails. Now, I know that you have been playing it every day, you're grinding it, which is why it's great that we could chat, but I think that was one of the major issues with chapter 2 for me. Now, lucky for us, Supercell has been listening to not only content creators, but the community, and they've implemented a whole bunch of changes, which we're going to talk about today, that fix all of this stuff. So how are you currently doing with chapter 2? And dude, I couldn't even remember it was called the Elite Hunter program. That's how far removed I am from it right now. Where do you stand right now? How are you enjoying it? Are you playing it because you love it every day, or because you want to keep up?
Yeah, it's a chore. I'm going to be honest, it's a chore playing. Obviously, the timescale's passed now where we should have had chapter 3.
Yes.
There's things in the game that we reported, i.e. the monsters being too difficult, the later worlds, the Elite Hunter worlds, super difficult to do daily jobs on your own. The monsters are just too strong. Some of the nightmare reefs, like sub too many times. I mean, they're next to impossible to complete unless you're cheesing them. But that being said, I'm still grinding it out. I think I'm about level 142. So I'm still playing every day, still emptying my daily XP, my boost XP, still doing my daily jobs. But yeah, it is a bit repetitive at the moment. So, but I'm sticking with it. Sticking
No,
with it.
I appreciate it, man. And I mean, Moco needs players like you, not only just playing the game, but also reporting things back to Supercell so that changes can be made. So let's talk really quick about the issues the community has had. And I have a list of them right here. I'm going to read them right out. One, gameplay feels repetitive. Same stuff over and over again. And then when you're reset at the end of a season, you kind of have to do it again. Next,
Yeah.
the progress doesn't feel too meaningful. Losing progress at the end of the season just sucks. Gaming isn't social enough. Let's talk about that, because I never felt that way. I actually felt that it was a pretty social experience. Now, maybe that's because I'm a content creator and because a lot of the times I was grinding long sessions, I was on a live stream. So maybe my experience is different from maybe the general player. But how did you feel about the social system? Did you think it was having an issue, or where are you at?
No, I thought it was like okay. I mean, you had groups there that held 1,000 members. Like
Right.
if you were lucky enough to get that many members in. I mean, like I'm only going to take Clash of Clans as an example here because that's the only other Supercell game I played. But I think in that clans in Clash of Clans, how many members can you have in there? Is it like 50?
I think it was 50, yep.
And then you can have 1,000 inside a Moco. So if you got that many players in your group, as they're called in Moco, then I found it like quite social. I can't understand where the social aspects came in, but they have just changed the groups now. If you do have 1,000 members, you can change it with community, and then that holds up to 10,000 people,
Yeah.
which seems maybe a bit too social.
That maybe is a bit too social, too spammy. But either way, that's an issue that was heard by Supercell from people in the community, and they've made those changes you mentioned. They said that there was poor matchmaking, too many bots, so that was going to be addressed, and the lack of updates and lack of content. Now, we're currently in that state. We're at Chapter 2. As you mentioned, Chapter 3 is supposed to be happening now, but because of all the changes that are being implemented into the game, we're actually looking at an extended Chapter 2 until the game is ready to essentially have a relaunch. That's how I think we could probably talk about it,
Yep.
which we're not going to hear about or know more about, or it's not going to happen until 2026. So we're looking at October, November, December, at least 3 months, kind of just sitting in limbo in Chapter 2. You're going to be there getting your dailies done for the next 3 months.
It's going to be like level 200 by the time
Oh,
Chapter 3 comes out.
It's crazy. You probably already are a pro. But they've made the choice to not pull out of Chapter 3, because remember, Chapter 2 was kind of not successful for them. It was a downfall of the game. So why do the same thing again? I actually respect that Supercell decided to not make the same mistake again, instead put things on pause to do it right. I think they always do a nice job of fixing their mistakes and not trying to just go down the wrong path. Unfortunately, though, we have to wait 3 months before anything new. They're still said they're going to bring, some events to the game. Just things are going to be a less of a cadence. New cosmetics, but maybe just like color changes and things. They're putting their entire team on these changes that we're about to discuss. So let's start out with them. Chapters are going to be changing over into seasons. Now, this is the one that's probably the most difficult to really see a massive difference within. I'll let you explain it a little bit more, but from what I understand, seasons are going to be just a little bit quicker than chapters, a little bit more updates and more content in those seasons. Why don't you break it down what you understand from the chapters to seasons change?
Yeah, so basically from the KPI, it said they're changing into seasons from chapters, and like you say, that they're going to last 1 to 2 months. I think it's stated in the KPI. Whereas obviously chapters, as we know it now, last approximately 3 months, and then they're just going to put events like daily, bi-weekly, and just basically flood the seasons with events and content during that 1 to 2 months is the way I understand it, which seems like a good thing. If I'm being honest, it was my favorite part of the KPI, the seasons.
Yeah.
It was the bit I like the most.
Well, they also said removal of the season progress resets, which I think is cool, or the chapter resets. So again, losing your progress, it's just deflating. I think in all games, I personally think it's deflating. So that's being removed, which I like the best regarding the seasons over the chapters. Regular content is important. If you look at any mobile game, the most successful ones are the ones that have new events, an event ends, a new event starts, and something is always refreshing. Even if you look at some of the, I play some pay to win games, man. I play Diablo Immortal, super pay to win. I play Raid Shadow Legends, super pay to win. But both of them always have new events coming to the game, which is keeping players fresh. Now, Moco is not at all pay to win. And let's jump to that really quickly because of all the changes we're about to talk about today, how drastically the game is going to change. They've said that monetization is going to remain 100% cosmetic only, which I throw a lot of respect to, man. They're literally, you could play this game for free and be one of the top players in the world. You may not look as cool as one of the other players, but that's the only difference. And what this also shows is that the community was engaging with cosmetics. People were buying them to the point where it could pay for the game, which is the community coming through and supporting Moco, and Supercell doing what's right for the community better than they ever have in any game before. How do you feel about that monetization strategy? Because in my opinion, it's unheard of in the genre.
Yeah, to be honest, I was super skeptical at the start because we all heard at the start of Moco it was just going to be monetization through cosmetics, but a lot of games sort of take this route now. And if you look at, I think it was September or August, the earnings for Moco, I think was $900,000 throughout August for a game that's basically free to play that earn the money through cosmetics. A small player base because it hasn't had the promotion. So I think them numbers go to show it's doing really well, and it's a good choice from the team to go down that route.
Yeah, I mean, we could average that out to, let's say, $1 million for the month for a game that's in a chapter that's not getting a ton of support. Obviously, those numbers are going to probably go down over the next couple of months, but when they do launch the game, and it's a lot more of what players want, I mean, that sounds fairly successful already for a small team that's on the game, and probably more profitable than some of the older Supercell games. Not 100% sure on that, don't quote me, but games like Boom Beach and Heyday that are still supported and played to this day. All right, so monetization, they're in the right spot for that, in my opinion. They're changing gear kits. Something I actually liked about Moco is you have your character, you could put anything on it. You could put any weapons, you could put any cosmetics, you could put any buffs you want on your character. There's no path, there's no guidance. You could mix and match anything you want, but that's going to be changing because they're implementing classes inside of the game. Now, as it sits right now, I'm not 100% sure if a class is going to be equipped with this, this, and this, and you can't change anything at all, or if there's some customization involved. Now, if you think of action RPGs, most of them are class-based. You can choose your class. If I choose to be a barbarian, I then get weapons that drop for the barbarian, skills that drop for the barbarian. It seems like it's going to be very similar here inside of Moco. What do you think about kind of cutting down the freedom of players to make anything they want and actually putting them in a class-based system?
Yeah, this was the part of the KPI that I was super unsure about at first because, like you say, having the ability to create your own class, I could use the speed chop bow with these passives and these rings, and there was quite a big selection you could choose from and build your class. And it tied in with the rifts and dojos, especially for the dojos. One of my favorite parts of Moco of building my own sort of class and trying to beat this dojo in sub 1 minute. I think it was a really awesome part of Moco. So when I read in the KPI they were introducing these classes, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be a W, especially with the community. But since the KPI has dropped and I've read through the changes, I've had time to digest it. And I think it could work, and I think it could work well if the team puts a lot more weapons, passives, and gadgets in the game. So we've got a big selection of classes to choose from.
I agree. So although I do like the mix and match whatever you want strategy, if you think of Moco 2 years from now, they're new rings all the time, new passives and new weapons, things are going to get lost. There's going to be too many, and it's going to be overwhelming for players. And something that we need to think about, you and I guess not me right now, but when I was in my prime of Moco, I knew absolutely everything about the game like you do right now. We are not the average player. The average player wants to be able to hop in and not be overwhelmed. And in doing the class system, I think it really does help the average player, which is the majority of people that do play any game. Also, it kind of narrows down the path that you have for all of the different gear. When there's going to be 50 different weapons inside of the game, and your favorite is going to be Techno Fists or whatever your favorite is, like your builds are all going to be around that one. Maybe you'll use a couple of weapons depending on what you're using it for. This will kind of force you to use different classes, because along with different classes, I'm sure there's going to be different challenges that require you to use those certain classes. So you're really going to diversify, one, your skill as a player, being able to play many different classes, the social element, because maybe you need to go in with teams that have certain different classes as well. You know how events drop in the game and you have your tank and then you have your, you have your bow players in the back. You're kind of forced into a role. I kind of like that. It forces you to play a certain play style maybe that you're not used to. And I could see them taking these classes, getting away from the gear kits and making more events and gameplay modes and just zones that require those types of things. So in the long run, I think it's a good thing. I agree with you that there are going to need to be more, of all different things, more weapons, passives, more rings. And those are going to come. Those are going to come in consistent updates with time. So
Yeah.
I think the class-based system long term is really cool, and I think it's going to be the best path forward for the game, at least for the average player. And I feel like
Yeah.
you're in agreement. Am I right or no?
Yeah, I agree with you, but I also think on reflection, it can add a skill element to the game because all the classes are pre-built. For example, if you've got this dojo to beat, we can all go in there with the same classes. It's not down to your build or player level. So if you've got a dojo to beat, you've got to go in with this class and then beat it. And then if you beat it, it's down to skill rather than player level, which it can sometimes fall down to now inside of Moco. Because I've posted dojo guides and people have commented on them saying, "Oh, you've only beat this because you're Elite 140 or whatever I was." But obviously with this new system, it actually removes that. And it can actually add a layer of skill as well.
Yeah, and let's actually dive over to that right now. They're removing power level and power progression altogether. So no more power levels. All players can play together, and this is what I like. How many times? I mean, I probably okay. Maybe it has happened to you. You're top level. You can get into anything inside of the game right now. If I were to dive into the game with you, there's so many zones that I can't yet get to, so we can't play together. Or I guess we could, but you'd have to downgrade all the way to zones where you wouldn't be getting any reward whatsoever. So they're getting rid of the power progression altogether. So from day one, me as a day one player, you as a day 100 player, we could play in the same zones. And I think that's how maybe that's where the social element that they're talking about was a problem. You've been playing for a year. You get your buddy to come join the game and they can't play with you. That's going to be a problem. You can't play with your friends. So this is probably part of how the social element has been changed. It's all open to all players. But you do bring up a concept there that it's going to be different, right? Like with no power gain over time,
Yeah.
it's not going to get easier for you to take down certain bosses. It's all going to be based around skill. Is that kind of what you were getting at there?
Yeah, totally. And that, like, again, the power removal of power progression, that was the second thing in the KPI I wasn't so fond of. But again, on reflection, it's not a bad thing because, like you say there, it's all down to skill. Whether you beat a Rift with these classes in your team, in whatever time it is, down to skill. And it's same with the dojos because there's no power level there. You don't increase your ring level, don't increase your power. So everything in the game essentially is down to skill. So it is quite a good thing. And like we said before, it's the bots in game is a problem. Maybe the lack of players playing the game at the moment is feeding into that. But like you say, the way they're structuring it now is going to be better for eradicating the bots as well. So, like I said, when I've had time to reflect on these changes, I've started thinking, yeah, I can see why they're doing that. I can see why they're doing that change. But yeah, it like we were saying, it does add a layer of skill to the game with these classes and the removal of power progression. But what I will see is, because I had a talk with Lowcase as well about this, and we were saying, what's going to be the factor in which, for someone who plays the game for 5 minutes a day versus someone who plays the game for 5 hours a day, what's going to be the difference in that? Are we still going to get a player level that you can see in game? So, for example, if I played for 5 hours a day, I might be like level 10. Someone only played for 5 minutes a day, they might be level 2. Are we still going to get a player level to indicate that in game? Because you still need something, in my opinion, to indicate to other players, especially when you're on a world, that you play the game a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, like a status symbol, so players can see that you have more time in the game versus someone else.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to have something. There's going to be levels, but they're just, I mean, I don't know for sure, but there has to be, right? There has to be something
Yeah.
that shows that you are an end game player. It just is not going to it's not going to determine how much power you have, but maybe some type of a badge or icon or things like that. I think that has to be there. Also, there has to be stuff in the game that makes you want to play for 5 hours a day, right? If there's no power progression, which is really what a lot of people play for to get stronger. Now, if that power progression is gone, there need to be other things that players are working for that since the power progression is gone. So now when we have basically 3 months until the new year when we're potentially getting these changes to drop and season 1 starts. It's going to be a fresh start, they mentioned. So all the progress you're still grinding for every day is going to be gone because it's going to be a whole new system. They did say that cosmetics are going to remain. Anything that you've earned that's not power-based, you're going to still have. So your gold, your cosmetics, and there's going to be some type of a compensation plan so that your time wasn't completely wasted. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? The team needs to revamp the game. This is a direction they're going in. They're doing it now, so it's sooner rather than later. But I feel like they need to have a good compensation plan in place because, I spent a lot of time in season 1. I've spent a lot of time playing in season 2. I mean, a lot of players have grinded to unlock the modules, the Elite Dash module, the healing module. What's going to happen to those? We don't know. I'm assuming they're going to be dissolved and incorporated into the classes they're on about, but we don't know. It still leaves a lot of questions, the KPI, but they're doing it. That Ask Me Anything out there, which they're publishing next week. So we might get some more answers in that. But yeah, it needs to be done. It needs to be done, unfortunately.
It does need to be done. And they are going to be preserving your collector level as well. Remember, and I think when I was on with Kairos and we were talking, he was all about collector level. Kairos cares so much about the collector level. So Supercell knows that, and that's directly correlates with people buying stuff in the game, right? So you can't take that collector level away because it was the motivation for people to spend. So I'm glad that they're keeping that. Think back. I don't know if you remember this, man. I don't know if you were, I don't think you were a content creator yet, but when Brawl Stars was first out, it was a vertical game when Brawl Stars first launched. And I remember when they were changing it to horizontal, myself and everyone included was like, what are you doing? Changing it completely, redoing everything inside of the game. And now look at Brawl Stars now. It's a huge success, one of the most popular games in the App Store. I mean, making these big changes, and this is a similar type of a change, maybe even a smaller change than making it how Brawl Stars made the switch. They know what they're doing, right? They have all the numbers, they have all the feedback, and they're doing what they think is right. And at the end of the day, it's really about getting the most number of players playing the game, more than the top tier, top level players, the top 1% of players, because the game can't be supported by the top 1%. So having the most players brought in, I think they're making those changes for that. And for you and I as players, for you and I as content creators, the more players that are inside of the game, the better it is at the end of the day. Are there any other things? I'll let you go. Sorry.
I was going to say a similar case with you saying about Brawl Stars. I don't know if you can remember with Clash Mini when they went to the no movement change inside of the game. They announced no movement was coming in, whatever update it was. But the community was in uproar though. Like, you can't remove the ability to let us move minis in between rounds. It's not going to work. You're going to kill the game. And then they went ahead, still implemented it, and it was a success. Everyone in the community absolutely loved it. So, like you say, the devs know what they're doing. There's a lot of changes, a lot of big changes. I feel as though when they change the game to this sort of setup, they need to stick with it. They can't revert back. So I'm confident that they're going to think it's a success if they're going this big with the changes.
Yeah, and they're taking the entire team and putting all the team on the changes as well. I think Zhao himself is going to be doing some stuff for like design and everything. He's like learning how to do it to support the game in the meantime. But they also did mention they're still listening to the community. They're talking about an AMA that's coming up. They were taking questions from Reddit, Twitter, and from Discord, and they were taking the top 10 comments from all of those. I don't know if that was already recorded or not. It may have been. If it was or wasn't, either way, we know that they're listening to the community. They want to have a successful game. And I think it's on the right path. It's just, are they going to have enough power? Are they going to be able to launch big enough when this is all ready to be a success? And if we're being very honest, a lot of that has to do with advertising dollars. So many people have never even heard of Moco because no big campaigns were put behind it. If they have the budget to put huge advertisement behind it, you remember Clash of Clans, a lot of people started playing because there was a Super Bowl commercial for Clash of Clans. Those aren't cheap. But if they have the money for the advertising budget, then people are going to play. People are going to try it. And if it's really fun, they'll continue playing. And then they have a successful game that grows over time. Are there any things that we didn't discuss right here as we're getting towards the end of the video that that you want to talk about, either that are changing, that's coming, or things that you're disappointed or happy about?
No, like I said, it's a lot to digest with the KPI. A lot of people don't like changes, kind of myself included, but like we said, we shared stories there about Brawl Stars and Clash Mini, and I think the team knows what they're doing. I think it is going to be a success, so everyone's just got to have a little bit of faith.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I hate changes. I hate balance changes. It seems like whatever game I play, whatever class I'm playing, it's getting a nerf. It's just, so I also don't like changes. But as we're getting towards the end, I want to let everyone know that Gaz here has a YouTube channel of his own. He used to cover Clash Mini. He now covers Moco, and you could go check him out for all different guides, playthroughs, basically everything that you want to see about Moco. He also is a creator. You've seen throughout the video his creator code. If you're inside of the game, whether it's Moco or any other Supercell game, feel free to use his creator code to support him as a content creator. Man, I appreciate you coming through and having this discussion, brother. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Let's do it again. And guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Now you know how we're feeling about Moco and its future. Stay up to date, both from his channel and my own, on anything relating to Moco. Take care, guys.